talking about supporting young entrepreneurs. So we're going to hear from some current Blue Ridge families, and we also get to hear from some alumni. So it's going to be really exciting. The mission of these E3s is to engage with the Blue Ridge families and equip them with resources that they need to empower them to succeed on their journey in independent study. So we get to do these every month. They're the third Wednesdays of every month, and we do all kinds of different topics. Before we get started today, we just wanted to go over a couple reminders. So please note that this session will be recorded for future viewing on Blue Ridge Academy in the Parent Info Center, along with all of our other previously recorded sessions. So you're welcome to view any of those at a later time. And to help this all run smoothly, here's a couple of requests that we have. Before we begin, if you could please keep your microphones muted and have your cameras turned off, that's very helpful. You're welcome to submit any questions throughout the presentation into the comment box, and there will be an allotted time at the end for Q&A. So please put those in there. We'll just go through in order at the end. And at the end, you'll also be welcome if you want to turn on your camera to ask a question, raise your hand, that's welcome too. Just introduce myself. I am Alicia Chavez, and I am one of the 3 family liaisons here to support our families and staff at Blue Ridge Academy. We also have Anna Aguilar and Shannon Eves. And so our specialty is supporting all of you wonderful families who are joining us with virtual resources, with workshops such as this one, vendor support, and then also we moderate all of our social media platforms for Blue Ridge Academy. Please take a moment and review our presentation for today's seminar. We're really excited because we have speakers with various experiences and like completely different businesses and their adventures that they've been had. And we're going to be hearing from both current Blue Ridge families and students, as well as recent alumni who've just graduated this past spring. And they're still continuing their entrepreneur efforts after graduation as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And so first up, we're going to be hearing from the D'Ambrosio family, Lisa and Bianca. So welcome, and please go ahead and tell us about your journey.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, first of all, for having us. I'm Lisa. It's my daughter, Bianca. Her twin is actually in class right now at USC, so unfortunately she cannot be on the Zoom with us. But first, I want to also congratulate all of you for deciding on having your children be homeschooled, as we found that it was such a great path for us, for our kids, and it really helped them achieve a lot of what they wanted and are still working on achieving. So I guess our journey started that they're identical twins, and people would say to us, oh, you know, why don't they do acting? We didn't know anything about it. My husband and I are not in that field. I'm actually in the medical field. And so they start off with acting, and they were in a traditional school, which we realized for them to do what they wanted to do over time, that we needed to find a path that would be able to fit their schedule. And luckily we found Blue Ridge, and the teachers were absolutely amazing. So for us, the choice was very easy for us to pick the homeschool and work with Blue Ridge. As they were getting older and they still really loved it, the acting and the whole part of the entertainment business, producing and writing, that we realized that, you know, part of the thing is they wanted to finish their school, but not compromise their education. So we had a great teacher that helped us figure out a path. For example, taking classes at Santa Monica College while they were in while they were in school at Blue Ridge, that accounted for 1 whole year of English in high school. So they were able to like finish high school by the time they were 16, and they were able to do their acting. We put some pictures up of some of the things that they have done and worked on. And they knew that this is what they wanted to do. So over time, but they also wanted to go to college and get their formal education. So, we worked with Kaylee, who was their high school teacher, who was amazing, to make sure that they had all their credits they needed, that also they were competitive to be able to get into amazing colleges. You know, Kiara, who's not with us right at this moment, she's down at USC in the screenwriters program at USC. Bianca, who just graduated from Berkeley, as you'll see here. So these are the schools that they chose to go to for college. Bianca, because of the classes she took in high school in the USC, the UC program allows you to use some of those credits to graduate. She was actually to accelerate her program to get 2 degrees in 2 years. So she just graduated from Berkeley at 19 with 2 degrees. And the reason she chose to do this was because she wants to, like a lot of your kids that are entrepreneurs, that she really wants to have the education, but be able to keep, to be able to keep working and not miss out on whatever their career path is for them. And so that's kind of was our educational journey in Blue Ridge was instrumental in helping us achieve what they wanted to achieve. They were very fortunate, in the schools and that they chose to go to and that they got into from the program. So I'm very appreciative to that. But also with their schooling, by them being homeschooled, we were able to do classes that they wanted to take that was more of the acting, the writing and producing. For example, in 9th grade, they did a class at UCLA in screenwriting that counted towards their graduation. I mean, her grad, your school at Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so that to have that is amazing. So if you have kids that are in high school, or you could jump in and start doing all those things and be dual enrollment in, Santa Monica College and that. If you didn't know, you don't even pay for that, which is amazing. So the girls really loved every part of it. And some of the things that they mentioned was like, how did this how did it keep the family and how is the dynamic of the family? We kind of just jumped in together to help them achieve this. And I figured that while they were in school, I was learning how to produce at the same time, helping them learn how to produce. So this is something we started literally only 5 years ago, and we didn't know anybody, not one person in the business. So we had to learn and work together as a team. And so when it came to our family unit, it was great because we were finding that we were able to do this together, and it's become like I said, a family business per se. And I think that that's great for the kids that, if you can do it and help them through it, because I guess my advice is not only do they enjoy it, but if you can jump in to help them, achieve the dream that they want to achieve. Obviously, my girls are still a work in progress. We're, doing things like that. But for us, it became like a family adventure. So that would be one of the things that I would say. What would you like to add, Bianca, about yours?
No, sorry, I have a little bit of a cold right now, but Blue Ridge was amazing program to be a part of. I'm really grateful for it every single day. It's played a big part into who I am and my educational journey. And I'm actually right now in the process of applying for my graduate degrees. And so I'm really grateful to Blue Ridge and my amazing teachers that I learned from that encouraged me to keep going and keep pushing in all aspects of my life.
I would just want to ask a follow-up question, if you guys don't mind. I'm just wondering, because you said you started from the ground up, and for me, that's really shocking because that industry is very hard to break into. So I'm sure that there was like challenges and also a lot of discouragement. And then even for your girls, like as you guys graduated and moved on to college, you started this pretty young and were doing things at your age that most people don't do. So what do you do when like you would get really discouraged or disappointed, or you would see, someone else who maybe they have more experience or they had the leg up, they've been in this spot before? Like, what would you guys do to support each other and encourage each other?
Since I'm a twin and my family and I were all really close, I think I just, for Kiara and I, when we would, go out for parts against each other, or we would see other people that, do have that kind of leg up, we would just lean on each other. And I think that that's what's really important about doing this adventure together and being in this business as a family, is because we all understand what every single day is different in the business. And so we can all lean on each other to help us get through any challenge that comes up randomly. And so I'm grateful for my mom and my dad and my sister, for being there for me. And I think that's really how we were able to persevere.
That's so cool. And I love that you mentioned like taking advantage of the dual enrollment because that's a unique opportunity that you have when you homeschool that I think people don't even realize or know about, and you seem to have used it to its full capacity, which is awesome to see. And like, kudos to your guys' teachers. You guys probably had awesome teachers to just support you along in that journey. Thank you so much. And
I just want to add one thing though, because it's important, and I know all the rules change all the time, but like when the girls were younger, they would be like, okay, if you want to be legal 18, so they're like, take your Chesapeake. And so what people don't realize, like, it's fine to take your Chesapeake, but if it's activated, then it changes your chances of getting into a certain college or whatever. So depending on what you want, what your kid wants, is also important to look at the disadvantage of taking the Chesapeake over just graduating early. And that's why for us, we chose the path of taking those classes. And the other thing I found out when you were up at Berkeley is like the AP classes that you were offered that you could have taken, they don't really count as much unless it's a certain, you at a certain point, or maybe they don't count. So to really look at if the UC and there's like there's a website you can go on and it'll show you like what classes from what community colleges are equivalent to what counts towards one of the UCs. It's really helpful because if you can literally get through some of these classes for free, it can help you, have credits towards your graduation early.
That's really great advice, and that's awesome. If anyone has questions, like specifically regarding their story, please put it in the chat, and we can kind of dig into more of those things specifically towards the end. Thank you so much for sharing just a little part of your story. Like, that's so encouraging, and it's really cool to see someone do something to just jump in and go for it. So thank you so much. Okay, next we're gonna have Bailey and Shannon. And although Bailey graduated from Blue Ridge Academy and this past spring in 2024, he also started his business while he was in high school. And his mom is going to share too how she supported him, and then how she actually has 3 kids who she supported too. They all have their own, entrepreneur businesses. I think they're running a little late, so we're going to skip ahead. Actually, we'll come back. But we're going to move on to the next family. So if we can go to the next slide, we have Ava and Jackie. And Jackie is going to share with us how she supported her young daughter's business in jewelry making. We have some awesome pictures. These look so fun. And we might hear from Ava too about how she's been doing with her business and how she's grown it. And we'll see if we can hear from her too. So go ahead, Jackie. I don't know if Jackie's here yet, then maybe.
Ramona is. We can hear from Ramona.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide then. And we're going to see, these pictures are so cute because they have dogs. Another Blue Ridge alumni, Riley Flores, and Ramona, her mom. So this story is really cool. And on this slide towards the end, if you guys want, there's a link that the Rockies Mountain Dog Treats, that's actually a website for her business. So I'm happy to introduce her. And Riley, we have a couple of questions if you would mind sharing a little bit about your journey. Are you on, Riley? Can you unmute?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so we just wanted to start off, because it's dog treats, which when I saw that, I thought it was super cool because I don't see a lot of people selling dog treats. So how did you get interested in making dog treats?
Well, basically I just started doing research on like what goes into like kibble and dog food, and I found like a lot of bad ingredients are in the dog food, and my dog would never eat his kibble, so I started feeding him like a fresh raw diet. And then well, I just really like baking, and so I wanted to make him a natural um dog treats, so I started baking him treats and he really liked it. And then I started making treats for my friends' dogs, and they like those treats. And then um I started doing research like on how to like start a dog treat business, and I found a course that taught you like how to step by step on like how to um start a dog treat business. And so I took that course, and that yeah, helped me in my journey.
Where did you find that course? I've never heard of a course specifically
Um,
for dog treats.
well, I think I was looking on like Pinterest for like different like dog treats, and I think that like advertisement came up. It's called Diva Dog Bakery.
That is so cool. So how old were you when you first started making? Because I know you're 18 now, right?
Yeah. So
Okay, how old when you started?
I think I was 16. I started in the beginning of 2022.
Wow, that's so awesome. And so when you got started, I'm sure like when you said you made them for your dog, you just started in your kitchen. Like, did you need any special supplies to begin the business? Did you just kind of like work with what you had until you could get more things, or what was that process?
Yeah, so I started off small, just like getting ingredients from the grocery store. And for my elective, I was taking the dog treats was like my elective, so I was able to like order craft bags and like labels from Blue Ridge. So they really helped me a lot in that area, and so I got like labels and bags. And um yeah.
That's so cool. And so you started making them for just like friends and family, and then I know it says like I saw your website, so you have that. When did you decide? Because on your website it says you ship nationwide. So what was the story of like jumping from friends and family to whoever is willing to buy them? Like you're gonna go nationwide. What was that like?
um well, I just found like this like website maker that was like free, so I started off like on a small website. And yeah, I had my brother, he's good at like art. He makes a lot of art, so I had him make my logo. And yeah, so it was pretty easy to design the website. I just put the products on there, wrote the description out, and yeah.
That's so cool. So what has been the result of this business? Like I assume it seems like you've grown from when you started.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of support from the locals where I live. There's an antique shop around where I live, and he sells like my dog treats there.
So cool. So you're like you have a website, you're in stores. Do you still do I see some pop-up pictures on the side. Do you still do like farmers markets and stuff and sell on your own as well?
Yeah, I've only done like three, I think, three markets. I just did one recently in October. It was a fall fest. And yeah, there's a lot of dogs there, and I sold my treats.
So cool. So aside from your business growing, which is really cool to see that you have been able to build this and but it's been 2 years, like that's so crazy. How have you grown? Like has it been challenging? What's been hard and what have you like learned from the experience so far?
Um, I think it's been uh yeah, like I guess for the markets it's kind of tough. making all the treats. So that takes a lot of work. I think I've grown in like being like responsible, and I guess I've grown more creatively as well with just making up new ideas for my treats, and uh, yeah.
Is there any advice that you would give other students who are wanting to start their own business in any area? Just maybe things that helped you when you first decided to do this, or maybe you wish someone had told you when you first started to do this?
Yeah, I think just picking something that you really enjoy doing is like really helpful. Um, just having fun while you do it, and yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your story. And if anyone has questions, please put them in the chat regarding Riley's story. And do you have anything else that you want to add?
Um, no, I think that's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We are going to go back to the previous slides. We're going to go back to Bailey and Shannon. They have an airbrush business. And so I'm going to let Bailey speak a little bit about his journey. And then following him, we're going to hear from his mother, Shannon, and she's going to share how she supported all three of her sons in their different entrepreneur adventures. So thank you for joining us, Bailey. You can go ahead and share like how old were you when you started this, and then where are you now, kind of a mini version of your journey.
Of course. So to start off, when I first discovered like the idea of entrepreneurship, I want to say like 11 years old. My mom's friend had like introduced me to this one company that he had where he did the same thing, infusion airbrush, well, not infusion airbrush, but he did airbrushing, he did temporary tattoos. And I was so intrigued about it because like as an 11-year-old, of course, I thought, well, what better job is there than the color inside the lines? I was made for this. So I figured that, I showed such an interest in it. I was asking him a whole bunch of questions. I was wondering like how he did it, like what the machine did. And eventually he kind of took a noticing that I was super interested in the idea of tattoos and selling them. He actually gave me my first set of temporary tattoos. Well, temporary tattoos. He gave me this like stencil sheets, like this whole book of stencils, and a paintbrush with some paints. So that was my first time really like getting the feel of being an entrepreneur. I was selling tattoos. I was seeing like finding whoever I could to see if they wanted to buy some. It never really got anywhere, but like I was still doing it for like a few months. I maybe made like a couple dollars since I didn't know how much to sell it for. But I was basically just trying to make money, and eventually, between school and I was actually starting to be homeschooled at the time, I was kind of giving up. Well, not giving up, but I started to abandon the idea of selling like painted tattoos because I just thought, oh well, it's not really making me a bunch of money, and I got to focus on school right now. That was up until like I want to say 2 or 3 years ago now, when my mom's friends came back, and well, I came back. We knew him the whole time, but he invited us to Arizona to come work with him on doing airbrush tattoos. I still wasn't painting at the time, but I was working with him. I was like giving out the files. I was organizing stuff. I was getting a feel of what it was like to work as an entrepreneur. And even after like I got paid, I did the job, and since we were traveling for it, I got to basically tour Las Vegas. I got to see like all the restaurants that they had, and there's one really good place. There's one really good breakfast place in Henderson that we go to all the time. We went there, and there's so much like traveling while working. That's really what's important for me as an entrepreneur. So fasting forwards like, no, I don't know, maybe half a year or so. Um, my mom's friends, well, tells my mom that he basically can't work like this anymore, that he has like too many contracts, too many people hiring him, that he can't manage it all by himself. So he presented us with this golden opportunity to take over the business. We would buy all of our stuff and set up our own temporary tattoo business, which is now known as Infusion Airbrush. That was and is my first official job. I would help take care of the machines. I would help with painting. I would go to all these events. And aside from, obviously, it's super fun just to work with people and really get to, let's see, get to make people happy by giving them these tattoos that they just love. They get to show it off to all their friends. It's such a wholesome job. It really is. And I'd say the best part about it though is we're free. Since we're entrepreneurs, we can just sign up for wherever we want. Say we want to go to Sacramento. We just see what business is in Sacramento and we sign up for it and we work there. So I was getting to travel while working. It's really an amazing thing.
Can you just share too, Bailey, because you're currently in college as well, right? So you are still doing school while you do all of this. So how has that been? How do you manage that? Because you do
That's a
travel a
very
lot
good
for your business, but I know you're still doing college. And how has that balance been? Like, were you kind of used to it because you were already doing that, or has it been more work and you adjust your schedule? What's the change been?
That's a great question. Since I've been homeschooled for throughout middle school and high school, I've, well, the college experience itself, I'm still getting used to it because this is my first time back in a real school since I'd say elementary school. So it's been definitely a big change for me. But when you combine that with working, most of the events that we sign up for, most of the people that hire us, or most of the events that we find are on weekends. And most of the time, I have weekends off of school. So it works perfectly with my schedule. Throughout the school week, I would be doing homework, I would go into the classes, and I would be handling my college life. And then during the weekends, I would be working as an entrepreneur.
You just have the best of both worlds over there, Bailey. That's really
Sure do.
cool. Thank you so much for sharing. And we also would love to hear from Shannon too. Shannon, if you want to unmute, we would love to hear how you supported Bailey and into this successful business, but also we know that you have your other sons, you said, also are doing their own adventures too. So do you want to share how did you guys become a little entrepreneur family?
Hi. So essentially, yes, I always encourage my sons to make their own businesses, make their own way. And, you know, my middle son, it actually started with my middle son. Before him, I was an entrepreneur myself because I got a business degree and decided I didn't want to do the 9 to 5. I wanted to spend time with my kids. I wanted to be there and still make money while I was doing it. My middle son was 17 years old and we're having lunch and he asked me, how does he find his passion? And I said, well, in order to find your passion, you have to follow your drive. I said, what drives you each and every day? And it doesn't have to be something you're going to stay with for the rest of your life. It just needs to be something that you can continue to follow. So if the road shifts and changes, you can continue to follow that regardless of what it is that you're doing. As long as you're feeling like it drives you, continue with it. So being a 17-year-old son, he says, well, the only thing that drives me right now is video games. And I said, didn't you just go to a tournament? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, why don't you create a tournament? And he's like, Mom, I don't think I can do that. And I said, why not? And I don't know, something sparked inside of him and he decided to put together his tournaments. And he just blew up. He got to be such a huge tournament that they actually invited him to a larger tournament in Las Vegas. And so he got to really kind of shine in the video game industry. But then he started to, he graduated from college and got his psychology degree. And he started to work for a high school. And they hired him to be the EA Sports teacher, not EA Sports, EA teacher. So he gets to play video games for a living with high school kids. So that's how it all started, essentially.
So was it the same process with each of your sons, just kind of telling them like, hey, what do you really enjoy doing? Like, what would you love to get up and do every day? Or was it kind of different for each of them?
It was different with Bailey. Bailey, as he was saying, he did the temporary tattoos. He loved it from the beginning. And I had a friend who needed someone to take over his business. And we just happened to, like it so much. And I saw that Bailey liked it so much. And I just saw an opportunity to really be an entrepreneur and own a business with my son. And so we took it, and it was probably the best decision we ever made. But I will say this for the people who are listening: if you see airbrushers at a festival, give them all the love you can, because it is probably one of the most expensive startups you can actually do. You need to buy all the equipment, which is extremely expensive. And people, some people don't understand, well, why is it that you charge what you charge? And now I can definitely feel for those people when they're charging what they're charging for the tattoos.
And Shannon, I know when we had talked before the presentation, you kind of shared with us, I kind of want people to hear like how the scale you guys went from. So when you were doing it, showing up, like you said, in Vegas, to go, you were doing these with your friend. And then once it becomes yours, like how many events did you do in the beginning versus how many events do you guys get now?
So we're 2 years in now. And our first year, I believe we did about 20 events. My friend actually gave us his contract. So he had a contract for this event company. And so we just kind of took over his contract. However, this last year, last year in our first year, we actually did drive to New Mexico, and we did a major street fair in New Mexico, which was fantastic. But this year, we actually drove all the way to Florida. So we did New Mexico, Texas, Alabama. So we did all the way to Florida. And so we did, I would say probably we did close to 60 events this year.
Wow, so you guys have like more than doubled it so far.
Oh yeah, and next year we're planning on spending most of the summer out and about, doing events in all the states. Plus, we're thinking of doing the Orange County and LA County Fair.
Wow, those are huge.
Yes.
You might see us there. I'm just kidding. Is there any tips you would give for any parents or maybe students who are listening and they're like, wow, I have this great idea and I would love to do this, but like, what do I do? What's my first step? How do I get started?
Well, I'm a true believer that you fail 100% of the times you don't actually take a chance. So if you have an idea, do it. It may not be the actual idea that makes you the money, but it may actually lead you to the idea that does make you the money. So my goal is always, if I have a great idea and it's doable, I'm doing it. I mean, I'm already got my hands in 2 other businesses that we're throwing together. So just keep going. Like, don't let it be just, oh, I think I'll do it, but everyone else is doing it. So what if everyone else is doing it? It depends on your energy, on what you give to it, that actually will determine your success, not how many people are actually doing it themselves.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's just super scary to jump into something that feels so big, right? Like, oh, I'm going to start this business, but it is true. Like, you never know until you try, right? And it's so scary to jump in, but I feel like we all learn a lot when we do something new and scary and out of our comfort zone. So thank you so much
So
for sharing.
can I just add something to that real quick? Because you
Yeah.
just made a great point. So I'm a life coach and I help people actually with their businesses and start up their businesses and things like that. And a lot of people will say just what you did. It's scary. And yes, it's scary, but I am a true believer that fear is actually something that holds us back from greatness. It is like our subconscious saying, no, 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 that's too scary. But it's fear that is actually holding us back from really being who we truly are.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much, both to you, Bailey, and Shannon, for letting us in on like your story and how you started and where you are now. And to all the speakers who we've had, it's been just really cool to hear everyone's, and they're so different, right? We have dog treats, airbrushing, and industry. It's just, they're all so different. We just wanted to highlight, kind of based on what Shannon said, you know, if you're ready to jump in, we have some upcoming Blue Ridge Community Connections events, and these are the perfect opportunity. It's like super low pressure, very easy for your students to jump in if they've never done anything like this. They're the Kids Makers Fair. And so all of these are for the purpose of letting your students experience, you know, what is it like to sell things that I made with my own hands? And it's just a little step into this entrepreneur world. We have 3 flyers on here. These are the 3 soonest ones, with the first one, the Long Beach one, that's actually tomorrow. So, but these are only 3 of them. If you go to the bottom where it says click here on the slide, that will take you to the Community Connections page, like their whole landing page. And that has the list of all the ones that are happening throughout December. So when we get back from our Thanksgiving break, there's, you know, 1 or 2 a week in all the different areas. So please click that and open up each flyer, because each one has a different sign up. So your kids are welcome to come. They get to have their own table. They get to, my daughter did it last year. It's so exciting for her. She gets to like decorate it how she wants. She got to make a little banner, you know, and her price list, just all the little things. They just get so excited about it, and it's super cool to see them like, what do you want to make, and to watch them make something and put so much time into it. And then they set up this whole little table, and there's all these other students who set up their own little tables. It's just one of my favorite things to go to, because you just see so much pride from the students and so much joy as they have their little setup and they're standing behind their selling. And you also get to just see so much like creativity, and you get to see different, like, wow, their imagination. Who would think to make this? Because there's just such a variety of things. So come on out, and even if your kids are not ready to have a table and sell something yet, I encourage you just to go and walk around. It's really cool. It's set up like a little market, and just all the kids are out there with their own tables. It's fun for the kids and encouraging for them if there's other people who come, just to even look at their stuff, not necessarily buying everything, but just to come and be present. And then also for your students who are like, I'm not ready to have a table, I don't want a table, just to take them and let them see, wow, look at all these other kids, and they're just like me, and they're doing this. I wonder if I would be able to, you know, do XYZ, whatever's in their line, wherever their passion is. It's when they see other kids their age, it's kind of sometimes like the last little hurdle is, it feels weird and awkward, but then you see this park filled with all these like 30 different tables of kids selling just all kinds of different things that they thought up in their head, and they thought, I'm going to make this. So it's really cool. So check out that list at the bottom, and we'll probably see you at some. I'm going to Long Beach tomorrow, and then we have after break is when like all the rest of the ones happen in December. So we're going to move on to our Q&A time, and we just want to say thank you to everyone for coming, and especially the presenters, because you shared with us like just your unique individual stories, and it's just so cool to hear that and hear like, why did you get started in this? How was it? How you've grown in it, to see that part too. It's just really encouraging for me As a mom to a daughter who wants to sell things outside every day, she's like, let's just go sell something on a blanket. Mom is like, it doesn't really work like that. But just to have that spirit in her and to see all these other families who just jumped in and did it, it's super encouraging. So thank you so much for being here and sharing with our Blue Ridge families. We are going to open it up for questions. Please use the raise hand feature that is in the reactions tab on your computer. It's under the more button if you're on your phone. And then also just stay muted until called upon, and we're gonna get to everyone's questions, do our best. So go ahead and raise your hand for a question, or you can also put it in the chat box if you don't really want to put your camera on.
I have a question, but my hand button isn't going up. So my question is for Riley. Riley, how did you know how much to charge for like one of your baked goods, like for the dog treats? Like, how did you decide what the price was going to be for the items that you're selling?
I found like a website, and you enter the price of the ingredients in there. So that's what I did. I put the, like, if I needed oats or applesauce, I put like the price in there, and then it like breaks it down, like how much it costs for like each bag, and that's kind of how I gauged like the price. And including like the craft bags and the labels and things like that.
That's amazing. Was it an app or a website that did that?
It was a website. I forgot what it was called though.
Wow. I wish I would have had that in my days.
Mhm.
If anyone else has any questions, you can just go ahead and type in the chat, or you can just unmute and go ahead and ask them too.
Lisa, I would like to know, like on your part, as you were supporting your daughters, I know you said that you're not in that industry, you're in more the medical field. How did that impact like your job and wanting to support them, but carrying on your own career? How did that work out?
Well, I was able, I did them both at the same time. And so it was quite, like I said, it was quite exhausting. I'd go from one thing to another. I think, you know, when they were younger, it was driving them around for auditions. And then as they got older, it became, because they write and produce movies now, that I was able to start looking into the producing part of it and figuring out how to do that and helping them, you know, when my time around my schedule to be able to help them get stuff produced, working with casting and putting together scripts. So it became something I started to do full time, and also with their social media. So then as I still did the other part, the nursing part, but it definitely was more of the balanced shift.
Thank you for explaining that, because I've heard from so many parents that's probably their biggest thing is like, I don't know how to balance um, my career and my work schedule and also continue to support my kids and allow them to flourish and grow. So um and Bianca, how did that impact you? Where did you have to like be patient and wait your turn for your mom to be done? Like, how did you and your sister work that out as well?
Yeah, it was definitely a balance, and it also taught my sister and I the importance of time management on our own side. And so we knew that we had to get our work done and also, you know, set time apart for the things we want to do, and also prioritize our schoolwork so that when my parents, you know, have their free time, we can all work on things together. So I think, you know, learning from my parents, it taught me a lot about time management.
And now with your career, as far as this career and your college, is that the same, or how has that changed?
100%. I will say when I was in my undergrad at Berkeley, I was there for 2 years and I did take more of a break from acting because I really wanted to prioritize, sorry, my light just went out, being at Berkeley, and doing well. And that was a really big priority for me more than anything, else. And so, yeah, I mean, now that I've graduated, I have had a little bit more of time to work on what I want to do, but I'm also pursuing my, graduate studies. And so it's kind of, the lessons that my parents taught me in time management have carried over into every aspect of my life, whether that be my educational journey or just my work experience. They've kind of taught me a really important life skill that could be used in any field or anything you want to do.
And that was going to lead me to my next question. Like, what are you doing next? Like, what's your next adventure or
So
project?
I am currently applying to law school and I hope to be starting in the fall. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, that's my besides education and going to law school, I've really focused on my gap year, writing a lot, doing what I want to do, producing. We're filming a movie in the spring. So just really taking this time to grow my craft before I go back to school.
That is awesome. And we wish you the best. We love to come back and hear more about how your journey is going. But thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you everybody who joined us today. Just as a reminder, the recording and these slides are going to be made available in the coming days, and the QR code that's on this slide, if you just scan that, it'll take you to the page that has the link for all of those. If there's any follow-up questions, or maybe you're watching this recording at a later time and you're like, oh, I wish I was able to have asked this in the chat, just please feel free to reach out to us, the family liaisons, for some support, or we can maybe contact those people and get you the answer you're looking for. But our email address is at the bottom of the slide there. It's just familyliaisons@theblueridgeacademy.com. Super easy. And then, yeah, also the QR code next to it, virtual event survey. Go ahead and fill that out for us. It's really helpful because it lets us know just like practical feedback. How was it? Like, is there anything we need to change for like technology wise, or just the flow of it? And then you're also welcome to leave comments. We're striving to give the families like good resources, and we're open to recommendations. So if there's like a topic you're interested in, to let us know. And we look forward to seeing you guys next month for December. Our next E3 is on December 18th, and they're always at 3 o'clock. We're going to be talking about the big question, homeschool and work-life balance, right? How do you do it? And what's worked for other people. And it seems very daunting, but a lot of people do it. So we're excited to share some tips and stories of what's worked best for people. So thank you so much. We'll see you then, and have a great day.